At this point, I want to invite Xiaoning Qi, the CEO of Sky Microsystems, up to the stage with Selena Wang from Bloomberg News.
Great. So, Xiaoning, a big and growing focus of Sky is making chips for the Internet of Things. Now, this is a very competitive space that a lot of big industry players are getting into. So what segments specifically in IoT are you targeting, and what advantage do you think you have?
So we mostly target the IoT market, which is a new one, and people moving into these areas. So we are finding out lots of new applications. For example, one thing we are doing with Alibaba is a data company. So a CPU or chip company working with a data company is a new thing. So we work together to building the fundamental infrastructure for the IoT market. CPU plus the OS. OS Things is the OS we created together and can tune seamlessly with a CPU so that we could build a strong edge device.
Mm-hmm. No, so thus far the industry seems to be dominated by ARM designs. So what is your path to widespread adoption if it seems that ARM designs are going to become the industry standard?
That's right. So ARM is a great company. They have been doing very well in the mobile space and embedded space as well. They also moving into the IoT market. So I believe as SoftBank Master predict will be 30 billion devices by 2020. So I believe there's a huge amount of opportunities for all the players. Mm-hmm. At the same time, when we work with Alibaba, a data company, we provide the values beyond the silicon. It's not just a chip. It's services we can work together because a data company knows a lot about the user scenarios, how the data is processed. There's lots of new business models coming out.
And do you think that Sky has specific advantages in the Chinese market?
Yes, absolutely. So we are closer to the users, and we provide more services to our customers. At the same time, we know much better about the applications specifically for Chinese market.
And I want to get back to your relationship with Jack Ma. Now, you've known him for some 30 years, and Sky was actually Alibaba's first chip investment. So how did you get to know Jack Ma? How did that relationship develop?
So we get to know each other, go back to 1988. Both of us were teaching a university. We also lived in the same dorm, so he was teaching English, I was teaching microelectronics. And we did a lot of interesting things together. So for example, we studied the English corner and also the YMC English Club. I was the chairman, he was the advisor teacher. So we also started doing some business like translation, Hope Translation Company, and also started the effort to do the ChinaPages.com. In 1995, I got the full scholarship from Stanford. Then I decided to leave. It was a very easy decision at that time. And as Jack joked, since then I went to a wrong path for 20 years. So, but we kept still talking to each other in the last 21 years, and we talked about the future of the technology world, the future of the web services and the businesses. And we believe in future, Alibaba could benefit a lot from the hardware confusion with software, the human beings, everything for the IoT market. So that's why we get together again and look at the futures.
And prior to Jack Ma's investment, Sky was primarily a sort of research institution. So how did he convince you to turn it into a commercial enterprise? What was his pitch to you?
So the company was established year 2001. It's mostly run by like a university research institution, but it's good to accumulate the technologies, things. And at the beginning of the IoT, the first year was 2014, what we believed. So at that time, both of us looking at the future, we thought it's a good direction to go. If it is a the company needs to go into the market. To be successful, needs to be market-oriented and also needs to be international-oriented and also should be run as a real modern corporation. It's not just a research institute. So that's why we work on together. And he said, you should be back to do this.
So you work with Alibaba on both cloud computing and edge computing. So can you give me more color on what that relationship looks like?
Sure. So we work together very seamlessly. The devices we have is used in the edge device. So edge device mainly collect information, collect data. For example, the NB-IoT market and also the surveillance cameras, voice recognition, facial recognition, and all these are connected to the clouds. So there are things we need to take care of is the security, so the edge device, channel, and the cloud. So by doing this, we are able to bring the lots of data, small data, to the clouds so that we have a big data. Then we do the analytics. And at the same time, we can bring the powerful analytics algorithm in the clouds to the edge device. So there's a two-way enhancement. In the near future, we could enhance our edge device as well. So by put the GPUs and AI functionalities into the edge device will be much more powerful.
And in addition to this kind of core underlying platform that you're helping to build, what other devices do you foresee your chips going into in terms of Alibaba's future products? They have the Tmall Genie, which is a sort of Alibaba-based version of the Amazon Alexa, and they're working on a number of other IoT devices as well.
Yeah, so the voice recognition, Tmall Genie is one thing. We are working on the platforms for the voice recognition, and also at the same time, we're working on the connectivity. The NB-IoT, Zigbee, all these connectivity. Alibaba has the IoT Connectivity Consortium. They act as a platform. There are lots of customers, their customers, our customers, get together and form an ecosystem so that if we have a good chips, then it could be provide to all these customers and people we work together, software side, hardware side, and box companies and chip companies.
Jack Ma has very large ambitions in both cloud computing and artificial intelligence. He recently said the company would be spending $15 billion in R&D over the coming years.
Right.
What do you make of those ambitions? Is it enough to put it ahead of Baidu, which thus far is really the leader in AI in China?
Absolutely. So he's quite determined. This morning in the leadership workshop, we were talking about the leadership traits, and the one thing I chimed in was we believe things will happen, and we see. We are not seeing things, and we believe. We believe things will happen, we create things. So I was interviewed by New York Times a couple of years ago about Jack Ma. How could it be possible for an English teacher to stage the biggest IPO in US history? I thought, persistence, working hard. Finally, I believe it was intentional belief. Intentional belief things will happen, and then create it, make it happen. For this effort, I would believe he will make it happen, and then Alibaba will be stronger in the technology as well.
Well, your theory has proved true thus far, but when we look at cloud computing, though Alibaba's cloud computing platform has grown dramatically, it's still far behind some of the big US leaders. So do you think that gap will close?
Yeah, they are working very hard on this, and especially in China, it dominates. Right now, Alibaba's cloud is the number 3rd in the world. Still, for the international market, as you mentioned, still needs grow. Say, US market, I know the Ali Cloud, the US president is working very hard. She's really working 24 hours a day. And they're also expanding to the Mideast and Asia, Europe as well.
So shifting gears back to the semiconductor industry, the Chinese government has stepped up its efforts to become the #1 player in the world. I think they want to be the stated leader by 2030. So how far behind is China when it comes to building up its semiconductor industry?
So this is a very interesting question. I would say a short answer takes time. So this last year, China consumed about 60% of the semiconductor worldwide. So, but only 7% of semiconductor chips were provided by local companies. So they would like to improve this capability to deliver provide their own chips. And because one thing was they were thinking is that if right now we use 90% of chips from Europe, from US, one day if they stop providing, so how are they going to do? But from the US side, it's also thinking, right now you're using our chips, but if one day you can provide your own chips, what are we going to do? So it's kind of a fear at both sides. So it's a matter of trust, I think. If we trust each other, then we could grow things much faster. It's not a zero-sum game. If, say, after 15 years later, China can provide, say, 50% of chips domestically, US companies or European companies can do much more advanced things. Semiconductor is becoming a commodity, like a steel. So the more advanced countries, industry, smart people can create more business models, different things, designs, using this commodity semiconductor to create more applications.
Mm-hmm. And China has also played a big role in the overall consolidation in the semiconductor industry. But now with Donald Trump as president, we're seeing CFIUS tighten some of its policies. For instance, the deal for Lattice did not go through. So what impact do you think this tightening of acquisitions of US semiconductor companies is going to have on China's efforts to become the leader, if any at all?
So I believe for a semiconductor to grow, M&A is one thing, but more important to grow organically, the talents, the effort, the applications, the chips suit in the particular market. So M&A sometimes cause more trouble. If some big companies, after they purchase some competitors, then the business went down. So you can go back, look at the semiconductor history, even in US. So it's one way to advance the technology, but not the only one. So doing the market, the analysis and meet the market, do the research work, R&D, step by step, things will become more natural and good.
So we have about 2.5 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions for Xiaoning? Otherwise, we'll continue with more questions. Oh.
I very much respect your point on trust on both sides would lead to more trade. You're so experienced. Do you have any pearls of wisdom to share on how you build that trust and what that really takes?
This is a very good question. So human beings need to trust each other so that getting more not just for one party, but for both parties. I guess the Sunday afternoon, Mary Lou was talking about all the iPhones, all the phones, the software flushed in China. And so this is one concern from the US side. But if you look at the China side, China was looking at all the phones are manufactured, the CPUs or the chips are made in US. If you understand that technically there is a backdoor, you can always kick into your chips and unlock your phones. So both sides are very concerned from each side. So I think improve the understanding each other, talking to each other more, that will help.
Any other questions? There's only one minute left, but maybe very briefly, we just had a question about mutual trust. I think there's a lot of concerns among the international community about China-US relations and the potentiality for a trade war. What do you make of all of the developments of the past year? Is there anything that's concerning you about trying to run a global business based out of China?
So that was not the question still, because we are mostly focused on the domestic market. We believe the IoT market is new, and we have lots of things, even for the domestic market, to focus on. So right now we are not expanding internationally
So just thinking of focusing
for
on
the
China.
for China market.
We are just out of time. Well, thank you so much, Xiaoning. It was great to talk to you.